We're going to talk about co-living, cash flow, and using the pad split model. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's the theme of tonight's presentation. And then this is what we're going to cover. We're going to go through what is co-living, why it works, how pad split can help you with the co-living property, what type of properties perform well in this market, in this model, how you can 2 to 3x your rental income using the co-living. We're also going to talk about how we can help you manage the whole process, from acquisitions to setting the property up to getting it ready to be pad splitted, so to say. So that's a little bit about what we're going to cover today. My name is Fautz. As I said, I've been doing real estate in some shape or form for almost 30 years, so dating myself here. I started off as a licensed real estate attorney in New York and New Jersey in the 90s. Did tons of acquisitions. I work with hedge funds, private equity, investors that were buying portfolios of homes. They were buying non-performing notes, some Aquint. Some of you may have heard of them. We were closing on hundreds and hundreds of houses. I did all their corporate entities, all their operating agreements, and all the different structures that they were buying these properties. And in those states, it's not a title state. You need an attorney to do all the closing for you. So I saw how much money they were making. I was looking at the statements, the HUDs and everything, and I said, yeah, I'm making, a good amount of money charging. I said, but I'm on the wrong side of the table. So it piqued my interest to get involved as an investor. And I went into that full time in 2000s and then moved down here 10 years ago, 2015. And we've been focusing, we built our own real estate company, my wife, Jamie, and I. We've done 100+ fix and flips over the last several years. We've had a portfolio of single family homes, and we still have a significant number of them. We also own mobile homes as well. As Mike was saying, they weren't performing as they did in 2017, 18, and 19. So that's what got me thinking as an investor, like, there's got to be a different way that I could cash flow these single family homes. And that's, brought me to pad split and the co-living model. I'll let Audrey introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name's Audrey. I'm with PadSplit. I've been with the company for a couple years, 2 years actually, to be back this month. But I've been in real estate since 2012. Started in the mortgage business back when we had paper apps. That's how old I am. I know I haven't looked that old. But I wanted to get out of that business because I wanted to start sleeping more, and I got into prop tech. If anyone knows what that is, it's property technology or real estate tech. So moved to San Francisco where tech lives and started working for another startup similar to PadSplit, but it didn't survive COVID. So I was in the job market and moved to South Florida and took a role with PadSplit. We're a mission-driven company, which is really cool. We're going to talk a bit about that, but not only is it a way for investors to 2x their gross revenue, but you're also contributing and providing affordable housing for folks who wouldn't normally be able to afford it. So excited to be here and pass to you.
Yeah, awesome. So what is co-living? A lot of people know college roommates, college housing, boarding houses, Wild West. The cowboy pulls up and he goes and gets a room for the night. That's kind of the beginning, I would say, of co-living back in the day. Today, it's an intentional type of investment style. Basically, you have unrelated people that are living under one roof in a single family home. And they share the common areas such as kitchen, the laundry room, the bathrooms, not so much the living rooms because we convert those into the bedrooms. So that's the concept of co-living. Or shared living is what you can refer to it as well. And you think of it as like a modern version of your roommate situation, like where we have a sense of community there, and we try to encourage that, right? You're managing several personalities. You're not just managing the property anymore. So it's a little bit different style of how you're approaching it. And when we do the furnished rooms, we rent them by the month. They're not long-term leases. We'll get into that. But the room is completely furnished, meaning there's a bed in there, there's a nightstand, there's a wall-mounted TV. It's kind of in between an annual rental and an Airbnb or a short-term rental. We don't provide sheets, pillows, towels, soap and stuff like that. The kitchen is fully furnished, meaning everything that they need to prepare and enjoy meals is in there. Utensils, cups, coffee cups, your toaster oven, your coffee maker, everything is in there. Dining area, we also put in, you'll see we put in bar stools if there's a peninsula or an island, so where they can enjoy their meal. And we do provide some basic stuff like garbage bags and cleaning supplies as well. So why co-living works? Traditional rental, Mike was just talking about it, right? One tenant, one stream of income, one point of failure. When your tenant moves out, right, you're not willing to lower that rent by $300, they move out. Now you've got 2 months, 3 months of zero income coming in. We're in it right now with one of our annual rentals. The people moved out, tried to work with them, and of course, it's not going to be a quick turnaround. When they moved out, how many scratches did they make on the wall with their couch, their bed? So my handyman's in there. So we'll be lucky. Now we're in the holiday season. We'll be lucky to get somebody in there for January if we're lucky. So co-living, it multiplies your members or your tenants. You have multiple streams of income, which gives you more reliable and more consistent cash flow for your single family property. My opinion, rent is still high. If you look back where it was, 2019, we're still above that threshold. So, we still have higher rents than what we were in before. And today people want flexible living and they want more affordable housing. And Audrey touched upon it, right? Affordability. Part of it is not only to increase my returns as an investor and for our investors properties that we manage, but we also feel like we're giving back to the community. If you ask ChatGPT or you Google, what is the #1 reason for homelessness in the United States? How many people think it's mental illness? Anybody thinks it's mental illness? Drug, alcohol addiction, I get a lot. It's not. The #1 reason is affordability. It's affordability by far is why people are living in their cars, why people are living in shelter. That's the #1 reason. So we're providing a service, and also then it's helping us because as an investor to buy these single family homes because we're able to cash flow that. Mike had mentioned this at one of the prior meetings. His investors hate when the value of their properties goes up. We talk about income and appreciation. As a buy and hold investor, you hate appreciation because you know why? Your operating expenses go up because your taxes go up. And here in Florida, we're also seeing high insurance rates. Flood, if you're in a flood zone, it's absolutely killing you, stifling your ability to make any positive cash flow on a single family home. And we really feel that co-living is the answer to these market changes. I'm gonna let Audrey talk about.
Okay, what is PadSplit? Yeah, we're the nation's largest co-living marketplace. So just curious, before today, how many of you had heard of co-living? There's a huge buzz around it right now. Awesome. Started to make my job a lot easier. It's kind of more well-known now than it was 2 years ago. But basically, what investors are doing is they're acquiring single-family properties, and they're building them out. We'll talk about what that looks like here soon. And then they're creating a listing on our site, similar to Airbnb. PadSplit is marketing your rooms through our efforts. Anyone looking online for an affordable place to live in the area, we're going to target that person through our marketing efforts. And then we handle screening, we handle payment collections, we offer the use of our technology. Everything's handled within the tech, which allows you as the investor to scale easily using this model. Because think about it, once you have 3, 4, or 5 houses, that might equal 50 tenants. Becomes very difficult to manage. So our tech allows you to do that a lot easier. Our individual tenants. First of all, we house over 60,000 people now. We have almost 30,000 bedrooms on the platform. We launched in Atlanta in 2018 where we have 8,000 bedrooms. We're all over the country. We're in certain metros. So we're kind of taking the approach of let's launch in certain places where we know we can operate without issues with zoning and things like that. And let's grow that market, and then we'll move on to others. We pretty much have the state of Florida covered, though, right? When you say we're pretty much all over.
We kind of filled in the gap.
Yeah, we filled in the gap here. We're closing in on Fort Myers area. But our average demographic and tenant makes between $35,000 and $50,000 a year. Okay, so this is $35 to $50 grand a year. we were just chatting a bit ago. I think the average rent for a 1 bedroom, and this is in every like major metro city in the country, is about $1,500. Which, if you do the math, you need to make 3 times the rent. You need to make about $25 an hour. On September 30th, the minimum wage in Florida went to $15 an hour.
And if I could add into that too, I meant to mention, I was reading an article the other day in the news press, and it gave what the average rents were in Fort Myers. I don't know if anybody read it. The average rent for a 1 bedroom in Fort Myers is a little bit over $1,300. And for a 2 bedroom, it's close to 17. It's like high 1,600. And when you think about that and what Audrey is mentioning, you have to come up with first month's rent, 1 month security deposit. If you're in a CD, maybe that landlord will take you with a little banged up credit, but they'll probably require last month's rent as well. So think about how much money you have to come out of pocket, $3,500, $4,000 to get an apartment, secure. So
It's also not just $1,300 plus utilities, flower parking. There's add-ons there where it just becomes extremely unaffordable. So where does the person sacking your groceries at Publix live? Right? They need an affordable place to live. They've been priced out. And so that's really why PadSplit was created. And a lot of people think that we have a housing shortage issue. We actually don't. We have 75 million empty bedrooms in the country not being utilized. So we have, underutilization issue. And that's why PadSplit was born.
yeah, that's great. So we are you just yep, PadSplit handles. You talked to
Yeah, so we promise views to your listing through our marketing efforts. We don't promise bookings, right? That kind of falls on you. You got to make sure you have good pictures, it's set up right, it's in a good area. And then
video.
once someone's interested in booking, we're going to screen that tenant. So we run a background check, credit check, employment verification, income verification, identity verification. We put candidates in front of you. Ultimately, you're deciding who's moving in. We collect rent on a weekly basis. We want to keep, these folks on track. They don't qualify for traditional housing for whatever reason. Maybe they mismanage money. We have a team solely dedicated to payment collections, and we have a 97% collection rate on payments. Our eviction rate's like 0.02%. National average is 6%. These people understand they don't have a lot of options. They want to stay on the platform. We offer clean, safe, and functional housing for about $700-800 a month. You try to find that on Zillow, it doesn't exist. So they're incentivized to make payments on time. And then we have our technology. Again, everything lives there. Payment collections, they're applying, booking, paying, rating their roommate, seeing their Wi-Fi password. You guys can see things you care about, like occupancy, finances, all lives in the tech. Property managers can receive and work maintenance tickets. Everything flows through the technology.
Yeah, which is great. And what I love too, the first line, you don't chase the rent, which I love, is that they collect the rent and they also will then deposit it in our bank account and our investor clients that we're managing their properties for, which we love. I also love the technology. So we'll do the credit check, and you can put in an advanced credit check on. So let's say you want a certain credit score or a certain employment, you can do that, but you're cutting out about 15%. We say,
yeah, you can turn on what we call enhanced screening. It'll eliminate about 15% of applicants. Just want to be clear, we're trying to help solve the affordable housing shortage. We want to give people an opportunity who don't typically have one. What your neighbor's criteria who's running a PadSplit may be different than yours, right? So you'll have to determine what that is, and then you can turn on enhanced screening. That will make it a little more stringent as far as the screen is concerned.
And then us as the owner or the host, where we're hosting properties for other investors we're working with, we have the ability to deny them. That they may say, hey, great, we're accepting, and they've gone through it, but we have a second level of questionnaire that we send out, and we ask them to answer some questions like, how long have you been working there? Where are you living currently? Where are you moving from? And if something raises a red flag or whatever, we have the ability to deny that, which is nice to have that opportunity as well. And like Audrey said, these people are really thankful to have a place to live. And I think if you put a good product out there, they're going to stay. Like the average, like with our first property, and we'll get into that, our average stay is like 6 months. They're staying with us. These aren't people that are coming looking for a few weeks or 2 months or 3 months. PadSplit recommends that you have 3 months, as that's the agreement. So to get into one of our PadSplit properties, you're really getting in at such an affordable price. It's a $19.99 for PadSplit charges to screen and do your membership application with them. Okay, we charge a one-time $100 move-in fee, which is for the cleaning to turn the room over, and then we generally ask for 1 week's rent up front. Depending if we see that, maybe they're borderline, we may ask for the first 2 weeks rent. So you can get into one of our furnished rooms for $200, $300 you're getting in versus the same, versus getting an apartment, you're probably $3,000. So really easy to get in to one of our properties over there.
One thing I'll mention too, our average demographic of 10 is actually a 36-year-old male, which most people find interesting. They're looking to move into a place quickly within a week on average, and the rooms are furnished because they just want to be able to move in somewhere quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing about PadSplit that really drew them to me as an attorney, I looked at the liability, how this works with having unrelated people living in a house. And the way that they have it set up, it's really more of a corporate housing, more of a membership agreement. So myself as the property manager or the owner of the property, I'm not entering into a landlord-tenant agreement or individual lease with each person living in the furnished room. So I think there's some benefits of that. Is it bulletproof? No, but I think there are some real benefits of hosting your property using the PadSplit portal. What? Crazy.
Yeah, it's non-refundable. $20. $20. A lot of times we do promos to waive it and things like that.
Yes. One more question. No, we're gonna hold them to the end. We're gonna hold them to the end. And also to my wife, we get our dedicated support thing, our amazing account executive, Audrey. Would not want to leave that out. Yeah, she is excellent. Yeah, she has been very helpful from start to, we're gonna hold questions to the end, from start to beginning. She's been really great. This is a whole new way of investing for me. And for our investors as well. It's a completely different model. And her whole team has really walked us through it. And really giving us the tools to be successful in this marketplace. So why PadSplit? 7 reasons why I chose them was time to revenue, the regulatory, or if you touched upon the occupancy, the tenure, the screening that they offer, and also the community impact. We're seeing with our housing that people are becoming friends. We're not trying to encourage them to be best buddies. But we want to have a fun, safe, clean environment for them. I don't know if there's anything you want to add up.
We're going to get into the earnings a little bit more.
Yeah, we're going to get into the earnings on that.
Yeah, let's just want to touch on the regulatory risk. Typically, most jurisdictions, well, first I'll back up. This is considered a midterm rental. We don't fall under the same regulations as STRs, so there's no risk there. Secondly, most of our houses have between 6 and 8 unrelated people living in a house owned as a single family, where, again, local jurisdictions typically allow up to, depending on the area, 3 to 5, right? And so we're working in a bit of a gray area. We're challenging those zoning laws. And so what we've done, and we have a team of really intelligent attorneys that all they do is make sure we're within our legal right to operate the way we are. And that's why we've launched in certain metros. But we have a membership program. So we created an entity, PadSplit LLC, separate from the company. PadSplit LLC is your tenant on paper. You have a 12-month agreement in place with PadSplit LLC as your tenant. And within that agreement, it states that you're giving PadSplit permission to rent rooms to their members. When our tenants sign up, they pass screening, they sign a membership agreement. It's essentially our lease with them. It says, I'm going to, pay weekly. I understand I'm renting a room, not the whole house. I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be a good tenant. I'm going to respect the property. I'm going to leave when I'm asked to. When they sign that, they're placed under PadSplit LLC as a member of that LLC. Our interpretation says they're related and they're under the same household through that entity. This interpretation, it works very well for us. We've never had to delist a property from our platform with this strategy. Holds up very well. We've won some really big cases, most recently in Jacksonville. Houston is writing certificate of occupancy right now for up to 8 people. The city of Portland is welcoming us with open arms. The mayor of Portland is giving $5,000 incentives to investors to bring on properties. Wasn't always this way, but now we're starting to see things kind of change, which is awesome.
Yeah, the environment definitely has changed. So for me, like I said, putting my my legal cap on, having been, having sued people and represented people being sued as an attorney. I really wanted to cross my T's and dot my I's to see what I was getting into and what the exposure was. And that was, for me, was comforting to know. And I like the way that they have it structured. And it also works great because we've had people fill our PadSplit houses that came from another house. So once they're in that membership, and let's say they're living in Jacksonville and they're a traveling nurse, we get a lot of traveling nurses in some of our properties because we're close to a hospital. They put in a transfer like, hey, I'm moving to Lee Health, and they can just transfer their PadSplit membership to one of our houses. So that's what's great. I think that gives them more backing to their model because it's corporate housing. They have the right to transfer to another PadSplit host in another state, another city.
What's great about a transferring incoming tenant that's transfer is you have their ratings as a roommate from other hosts and other members on the platform. You can see their payment history.
Yep.
So yeah, we try to keep it within the platform.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, I love and I don't love traveling members because I have to pay PadSplit more when they move, but it's still good to have the occupancy. So let's get into what type of properties perform best. Like I said, co-living we think is the best investment. Really, what works well? It's kind of, I wouldn't say a unicorn property, but it's not your typical property. We normally look for larger single-family homes, 5 to 8 bedrooms. It's three bedroom plus, 2 bath plus, 1,800 square foot plus is kind of like the starting point on that. We've also been really analyzing a lot of underperforming vacation rentals, Airbnb. Somebody had mentioned Cape Coral. We've had a dozen property owners that have underperforming, or maybe I should say non-performing Airbnbs on Cape Coral, calling us to consult with us to come see their property if it's a viable one that we can convert into a co-living. So we're underwriting, we're working with a number of investors. We launched one about 2 months ago. We converted into a 7-bedroom, 2-bath on Skyline Boulevard in Cape Coral, and within 62 days, it's at 80% occupancy, where she was having 0 and 30% Airbnb occupancy if she was lucky. So that's a huge market. Also, your older, oversized homes in BC neighborhoods that nobody wants to flip. If Kevin Don's not here, the properties that we've been buying, he's not interested in them. They're 2,200, 2,900, 4,000 square foot properties. We're looking for those that are also, near commercial. Maybe it's a residential property on the border of butts a commercial. On the back side of the backyard or across the street is a Dollar General parking lot or a Target. Your family's not looking to move that property. We like a lot of driveway space if possible, if not off-street parking. We also love exterior exits, garage doors, back doors, side doors. Those are all great to be able to add additional bedrooms into the property.
And just the reason why is because you've got between 6 and 10 people living in a house together, it's got to be the right neighborhood, right? If it's in too nice of a neighborhood, those neighbors are not gonna want a PadSplit in their neighborhood. So a house in a B2C neighborhood, off a busy road, walkable to a bus stop, that's perfect for PadSplit.
Yeah, absolutely. Off-street parking. That brings us to the next one. Like, what's the buy box? This is the buy box. We kind of tweaked it a little bit for Southwest Florida. At least 6 bedrooms post-conversion really is the minimum. 4 bedrooms is kind of your break even. When I run the numbers, depending on your financing, how you own the property, whether outright cash or have a DSCR loan, what your rate is, 4 is kind of the starting number over there. 6, 7 to 9, 7, 8 is really the sweet spot. Square footage we talk a little bit about. We recommend to have 1 parking spot for every 2 members. And we were surprised that a lot of our members don't have cars. We thought there would be more, but they don't. They have e-bikes, they do share rides. They also take public transportation. Like, we have one property in Port Charlotte, a 9-bedroom, and it has tons of parking. We could fit 9 cars, maybe 10 cars in there. And we've been up there just to kind of spot check it. And there's only been 3 cars, and we have somebody that's kind of our house manager there. And he says, yeah, myself and 2 other people are the only ones that have cars. So we made a whole area where they can park their e-bikes in there. So no mobile home parks. We stay away from flood history. Somebody mentioned flood insurance. It kills the pro forma. We don't go in flood zone. And for obvious reasons, no HOAs. Absolutely. Even if it's a loose HOA, I had a property that was sent to me. Oh, it's a loose HOA, laissez-faire. They use some term like that. Absolutely not. I've never seen an HOA like that. Some people are also doing garage conversions. I think that's kind of hit or miss depending on your area, zoning, permitting, and so forth on that. And then we'll talk a little bit about budgeting for the staging of the furniture, um, standard, getting it ready, washer, dryer, etc., not $10,000. So this is your buy box. This is really what you're looking for. So you really have to really dig deep to find the right properties that's going to work. I'm finding that we're scrubbing and looking at, 100 plus properties, narrowing it down to 20 to maybe find one that actually is really going to work well.
Yeah, the conversion or the cash flow lives in the 6th and 7th bedroom, right? So like you said, you're going to need more, but 5 covers your nut. And then I was going to say something else. Oh, the reason that we need minimum 1,800 square feet is because you're going in and you're typically converting the living room space and the dining room into additional bedrooms or any additional space. In a co-living environment, it's actually better to have less common area space.
Yep.
Because these people don't know each other. They're not friends. They're not family. We don't really want to create spaces within the property for them to kind of hang out, and it can just cause issues, right? In a living room, they're watching football and someone else is trying to sleep because they got to work in a few hours, or it invites friends over. Then you'll have a friend sleeping on the couch that's not a member. So we try to keep the common areas limited, and so you might as well convert them into bedroom.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we've done. And, I'll be sending out an invite. Hopefully, Mike, we're going to do a walkthrough. We have 11 bedroom, 5 bath that it's first and goal in the 9-yard line. We're almost getting through that. But yeah, so our first 2, we had couches. Definitely am not. I couldn't make a bedroom in there because there was no window or side door. So there was no second means of egress. So we left that living room untouched. But it definitely, we didn't put a TV in there, but it definitely, promoted congregating, and, people are up late at night, and some people have early morning shifts and stuff. So really kind of want to shy away from that. And that's why we put wall mounted TVs in all the bedrooms. We have 2 refrigerators. We number the refrigerator, each shelf, room 1, room 2, room 3. We put up extra cabinets in the laundry room. Each member or tenant has their own set of cabinets. And then, the bigger room, we allow them to have their own small mini fridge in there as well. We don't want people eating in their room, right? We live in Southwest Florida, bugs, ants, cockroaches. So we really limit that. Even though we do have pest control in all of our properties, and we send in our cleaning crew every month to do a deep clean. We have house rules. We have SOPs, standard operating procedures, that all of our members get. So when they move in, they get a welcome email that explains exactly how this house runs. We have keyless lock pads on every entry door to the house and also every bedroom. And they're Wi-Fi enabled, so we're able to change the code when somebody vacates and leaves that room. We don't have to send our handyman there. We do it remotely. The same thing with the thermostat. Those tenants will knock that sucker down, just like Airbnb. Annual rentals, you don't care because they're paying their own electric, but we're paying the electric because all utilities and Wi-Fi is included. So we have a case on there, and also we get an alert. So if somebody does break the case, we know that it's down to 68 degrees. So those are important. You've got to control your utilities. It cuts into your overhead, and that'll bring us to our next slide, which talks about the conversion. So this is just a floor plan showing what we do with those common areas, how we build walls and we convert it into an additional bedroom. We always look to have a second means of egress, a window or a side door, so that even though we're not pulling permits to convert those, we want to make sure that, God forbid, there is a fire, that they're able to get out of it. And a lot of times what we're doing on these, we're putting up temporary walls, and meaning that we're not screwing or tapconning into the tile. We're basically building the wall into the side walls and using the ceiling to support it, so that if we end up wanting to convert it back to a single family home down the road for resale, which I don't think we're going to, you still have that option. Some of our investors that were converting their Airbnbs into that are asking us to make sure that we do that. So you do have that ability to structure it that way.
Yeah, the idea is to add the walls with insulation and a door. You're not running electricity through these walls or anything like that, so that if you do want to take them down. Also, like I mentioned, we are kind of challenging zoning laws, so we kind of want to do everything else by the book, right? We want legal bedrooms, so we need egress in every bedroom, right? So that in case someone does enter the code enforcement does enter the property, it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of bedrooms, but they're legal. It's a nice place. It's functional. It looks like these people enjoy living here. That's the idea.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just like a mock-up of what we're doing. So it's that living room. We've also taken a big master bedroom and we were able to cut that in half. We were able to go through the living room and make basically a small hallway and cut the 2 bedrooms into the master into 2 bedrooms. So different, you got to be creative, you know, when you're laying these out. So our next slide, this is a couple pictures of some of our properties that we have. This is our ugly house on the corner up in Port Charlotte over there. That's a 9-bedroom. This is the kitchen area. You can see we have table and chairs over there. It's fully stocked, ready for them to enjoy their meal. This is our Cape Coral house. That was an unsuccessful Airbnb that we turned into a 7-2 for the owner, and she's crushing it. 62 days. She, like I said, she's over $4,000 of rental income. That's her kitchen, how we set it up over there. We number every room so they know when they get their welcome instruction. Hey, Jim, welcome to our house, the PadSplit house in Port Charlotte. Your room number 1, here's your code, here's the Wi-Fi code. All instructions are in there, the house rules. Here's 2 of the properties up in the Port Charlotte. You can see the wall-mounted TV. We put the bedding on just for staging to take the photos when we're marketing, but we do not provide that. We also, if there's no closet built in, we have a mobile, what do you call them, Jamie?
Portable. Yeah.
Portable armoire or closet. We did rugs in these. I'm kind of not going to do rugs anymore because people are staining them. So
they photograph nice.
They photograph great. So I'm on the fence if we're going to continue to do rugs in our next couple of properties that we have lined up. But you can see clean, safe environment. The deep cleaning, even though we have house rules, they're supposed to clean up after themselves. Not everybody does. So the deep cleaning is really important in the common areas. So this is a couple pictures of some of our co-living houses that are doing great. This is the good stuff. Besides offering affordable housing, this really gets my juices flowing, gets me excited as an investor, okay? So this particular property up in Port Charlotte, we maybe would get $2,500 on a monthly rent. The PITI with the DSCR loan is $1,900, and our insurance and taxes up there. So we're not paying utilities, right? I'm not paying water, I'm not cutting the grass, I'm not Wi-Fi. So we would net about $600 on that before I set aside for maintenance, CapEx, vacancy, and so forth. Now here's my PadSplit. Here's where we're making the money. And this is a real snapshot from October 2025. Same thing. PadSplit, we took in $7,040.89. They take their 8% because we're self-managing it, so we're paying them 8%. Then they deposited the first week of November, $6,477.62. We've been averaging that or more on this property, which would be a normal $2,500 a month annual rental. A little bit more overhead, right? Because I'm paying water, I'm paying electric, we are providing Wi-Fi, we cut the grass, and we send in our cleaning crew once a month to do a deep clean. So $475 for those. Let's call it $1,000. $1,000 extra of overhead operating costs. So minus that, minus the 64. So I'm at $3,400. So we're at $3,400 on our net operating income versus $600. That's functioning at 8 right now. We're converting it into a 9. I was waiting for my DSCR loan to get done to chop it up and add another bedroom in there. And we can talk about that. I can answer any questions about that. So yeah, so that's only 8 bedrooms. I'm gonna have another 9th bedroom that will rent out at $725 a month. That just goes right on top of this because the AC is the AC. It's cool in the whole house. The water, maybe a little bit more. But so you can see the difference. We're more than 3x in this property. So the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, I could look at all of our other properties, very similar. Very similar. So this should be exciting. If you're an investor in this room and you want to get into the single family rental market, you'd be crazy. Crazy. Annual rentals are dead, and Airbnbs as well. Airbnbs is not the same market that it was several years ago. Very difficult to cash flow, especially with interest rates on a single family home and how much taxes have gone up and how much insurance has gone up. It's impossible. So we love the co-living model. So we put QR codes on there. You can scan the QR code. You can set up a host account through the QR code, and you don't have to put a property. Even if you don't have a property right now that you're ready to do, or you're not even sure if you're going to do one or when you're going to do one. The good thing about signing up and getting a host account, it doesn't cost you anything. You can go in and you can utilize all the tools.
There's tons of tools in there, resources, how to set up a PadSplit, what makes a good PadSplit. We have an underwriting calculator. We have a data map, which is essentially our version of AirDNA. You can see how other properties on the platform are performing, what they're charging, occupancy. That's the first step. Create a host account.
Yeah, and you get access to all of these tools. Definitely if you're thinking about it, or even not thinking about it, you should be thinking about it, because the PadSplit model is the way to go. Absolutely. There's no question about that. Shooting it or nope. We're gonna get started. Yeah. Right, 2 more slides. So this is my beautiful wife, Jamie, and I. It's my partner in crime. So our services. So we're scaling, and we're all in. We formed Co-Live Wealth Partners. We're launching that in about 6 weeks. So I've had so many people come to us say, "Hey, how can I get in? I want to be silent. I want a JV. I want to invest money. I want a double-digit return on my money." So we're launching that. Like I said, the first of the year, Co-Live Wealth Partners. It's going to be our JV setup that we're doing. So we saw how much work is involved. It's kind of in between an Airbnb and an annual rental. There's a lot of moving parts. You get messages from members. Hey, Joe's not cleaning up his sink. He's leaving his dishes in here. So we have a full-time assistant. We created an AI bot that actually does all the response. So we don't even have to communicate. The bot does all this and answers. We're programming it to answer the questions. So we launched Co-Live Management Services in the beginning of this year. So basically, we're working with investors or even existing people who own properties that they're thinking about maybe converting it into the co-living model. We'll help you underwrite, analyze the deal. We'll do a site visit for you. We have everything SOP, standard operating procedure, as far as the furnishing setup. Be happy to share you a link of exactly what we use to furnish each one. It's the same bed frame, the same mattress, the same rug, the same lamp for every single one. So that's really important. With the PadSplit listing, we launch it on PadSplit. We then get added as a host. We help place the residents, and then we also are managing. So a lot of our investors, they want to be hands-off. They don't want to be managing. They don't want to be involved in it. So we're working with them from turnkey to setup. And the other point that I want to make is the resident placement. Yes, PadSplit does help, but we're a tertiary market. They're not spending as much money for Fort Myers as they are for Jacksonville, Tampa, or Ocala, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So one of the things that Audrey did for me, which was great, she set expectations. She said, Christian, Jamie, when you launch this, we're not going to be filling your rooms as quickly as we do past the properties in Jacksonville and Tampa. You're going to need to make sure you have your marketing in place if you want to have occupancy rate high very quickly. So we set up systems in place. We fill about 75% of our rooms, which it reduces our cost because we have to pay a fee to PadSplit when they fill our room. And also we're getting our occupancy high, and much quicker than if we were just relying on PadSplit to fill our rooms.
Yeah. This, and also just to kind of reiterate, if I haven't already, this is not a set it and forget it investment strategy. Your PadSplit is only going to be as successful as the ox behind it.
Yeah.
So unless you have extra time, and most of us don't, you're gonna want to outsource a third-party vendor, because we do not handle on-the-ground maintenance, proactive, reactive, room turns, landscaping, conversing with the tenants, extra marketing. So you're gonna outsource that.
Yeah.
And that's
all on us. That's why we created Co-Live Management Services. That's all on us. Like when they go in the portal, like, hey, the toilet's not working, we have to then, my team has to address that and get the handyman, the plumber up there, deal with relationships, who's not getting.
Tony, you ain't peanut butter. Person in room number 2 looked at me weird.
Yeah.
It's not stop. So
yeah, it's definitely a lot more than your annual rental. So I have to play. Yeah. So this is our information. So hopefully you got value out of this. Like, you know, as the RIA does, we don't sell anything. We're not promoting anything. The only thing that I would ask for Jamie and I, if you got value out of this, that you give us a Google review on Coliv Management Services. The QR code's there. Or if you Google Coliv Management Services, that you leave us a Google review. That would be great. And like I said, we're here to consult, to help anybody that you know, clients that you have, to look at their properties or look at additional properties that we're underwriting now that we're going to be looking for joint venture partners to team up. So that's pretty much all we have to offer. And like I said, hopefully you had value.
Since you just there's a bunch of questions. Yeah, last week, but like insurance say covering when you have a Rati?
It has to be underwritten. I use the same insurance professional you do. So we kind of she worked with me on that. Is a little bit, you have to do it as a short-term, separate liability purposes, separate liability policy for liability purposes.
We also just partnered with a group that writes a co-living specific policy. So, and I heard they're competitive, so you have options.
Just great.
What are they like? We could go out pegging the whole website. I got a property with cities where possible or downtown like jobs and such. But in our area, you get an engineer for that, right? Or catch we had it's okay where it's not so close in a lot of cases. Yeah, are those properties, are they still lickable without having the proximity? Just like low.
We have properties in Lehigh that do well. It's going to take a little longer to lease those up because there's less demand out there. You know, people want to, for the most part, people, you know, hourly wage, low income earners, they want to be a couple miles from work. They don't want to be 30 minutes from work. So.
And a lot of our members, they can't afford a car, right? They can't afford an apartment. I don't know about you, but my car insurance has been jacked up the last 2 years, and I haven't had an accident. So yeah, so they can't afford the car. So the public transportation definitely is important. And also too, like with our Port Charlotte property, we're really close to the HCA Faucet, the Short Point up there. I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but 34% of all nurses in the state of Florida are traveling nurses because we don't need as many nurses during the summer, right? All the snowbirds go out. So we need nurses now through April. So we had been promoting and we market on a lot of traveling nurse sites, and we've been filling our rooms with traveling nurses for sure.
We had a fellow him first. He had a good zoning issue for restricting out the up this twice in New Jersey. And I feel that would only allow a certain number of people unrelated from this and that house.
Yeah, that's why I left New Jersey. That's why I left.
Yeah, so I think
We're not in New Jersey.
yeah, and that's what that PadSplit's not in New Jersey.
So many towns.
Yes. So Audrey touched upon that. It's that corporate membership. Remember, they're signing a membership agreement with PadSplit. So it's, you know, the way that their take on it, their opinion is it should be considered corporate housing.
Yeah, they're related. It's a membership program. They're related through that membership. However, we're, you know, trying to fly under the radar. We're not going to local code enforcement saying, do you guys have like 10 bedrooms in this house? Because the answer is going to be no, right? So let's acquire in a neighborhood that makes sense. Parking has got to be there. If you're within walking distance to public transit, only 1 of every 2 tenants is going to have a car. So we want to add to the neighborhood. We don't want to take away. We really want to make sure we keep that keeps the level of risk low.
And if I can add on that too, I joined a couple, and I'm in a Facebook mastermind group with a couple of other operators throughout the country. We've kind of got together and we get on the horn every 2 weeks to do a Zoom meeting together. And then the number 1 and 2 reason why people get flagged is not code, come in to see how many bedrooms in there. The grass isn't being cut, it's being kept too high. They're not getting enough garbage and recycling cans. So the members are putting out glad bags or whatnot. Raccoons are getting into it. It's sprilling all over the sidewalk, the front lawn. So when we set up our PadSplit, I made sure I had not 1, but 2 trash, 3 recycles. So I didn't run into that. So there's little tricks that people are neglecting, right? There's a lot of landlords that don't take care of their properties. You can't have that same mentality going into this. You have to go into this mentality. I'm going to deliver the best product possible.
At this point, I think I've onboarded close to 500 properties. Only 2 have had issues with code enforcement. 1 was in way too nice of a neighborhood. I told him don't do it. He didn't listen. And the second one is dealing with they're not managing the tenants well, and there's been issues with neighbors. So many questions.
So, I would buy your rentals, let's say, buddy, side of the for capex, repairs, and things.
With your data, what you see back conversion? The occupancy is higher. When we underwrite, I underwrite depending on the neighbor and the type of property between 7 and 10% vacancy. My capex is probably about 3%, but my maintenance is not, because when we have people move out of a room, we don't have any issue. We've had room turnovers. They're not causing problems. Like, we have to go in there, we get our cleaning service within 24 to 48 hours. We change the mattress protector, they scrub the room, and we're done. We're not repainting rooms. We're not repainting common areas. We're not having any of those issues because it's not a big move out. It's just they're picking up their clothes, their sheets, their towel, their pillow, and getting the heck out. So the maintenance is a lot less if you stay on top of your regular maintenance, as long as you don't let maintenance get deferred. Right? Don't take care of that leaky faucet, so forth and so on. I'm not going to do that because it's going to cut into my net operating and commit my water bills up.
You're starting to talk about the DSCR and doing the renovations. Will the DSCR loan calculate the up based off of, or I want you to talk to my rentals? Yeah, will they do it based off 7 full bedrooms?
Great question. Right now, they don't recognize it. You have to, when I did my DSCR loan, it was underwritten either using an annual rental, about $2,500 or $2,800, or as a short-term rental using AirDNA. That's how they're underwriting it now. However, as I said, I'm part of the mastermind. There are 2 lenders out there that are getting into this space. They're starting to recognize it as an asset class. If you went to a mortgage officer, a loan officer 12 years ago, and you said, yeah, I want to underwrite this as an Airbnb, they're like, what? They weren't underwriting properties 12, 15 years ago for short-term rentals. There was no AirDNA. It became a recognized asset class. I truly believe in the next 36 months that this model is going to be a recognized asset class. And it's not only going to be financed based on that 6,400 versus the 2,500, it's even better. The exit strategy, people are going to be buying these properties if you have a 3, 4, 5-year track record, not based on comps of what other houses are selling in the neighborhood. They're going to base it on what type of ROI.
It's already happening.
Yeah. They're going to be buying it on the ROI. So as an investor, if you build a package of these and sell them as a package, I think that's where there's going to be a huge exit strategy. Keep it quiet. I don't want the private equity guys, the hedge fund guys to know about this yet, because they'll start scooping up the
PadSplit selling at a 10% premium if they're fully occupied cash flowing asset. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, save them. In their site, they have it. If you get a host account, you can go in there. Other people are putting their properties in there. If you want to buy an existing PadSplit, it's under the host portal that you can look and say, hey, maybe I'm interested in buying this. It's still a 12% cash on cash, or 14% return. Yeah, it's gonna.
I have questions. So we do 80 there, be 60 up in Illinois, 20 out here.
Oh, yeah, no, but 300 go. Yes. But I just want to know about the tax, right? So we pay taxes on anything under 103 days down there. Taylor, how do you avoid that short-term stay? And what is the average stay for your clients?
Good question. So we issue a 1099 at the beginning of each year with your revenue. You also have a 12-year agreement in place with PadSplit LLC.
Okay.
As
So
well.
paying you what? Help me understand the model. So
We
I agree to sign up the unit for pass.
Yeah, and then we give you revenue projections in the lease, and then we collect rent. We take our cut. We deposit the rest into your account.
Your fund is 8% for placing.
First 10 days of rent for any tenant we place, our placement fee. Starting day 11 of the stay, every day thereafter until they move out, we take an 8% cut on every dollar.
You take the first days and then you take 8% after that.
Correct.
On your average, and if you're at stay, it's
4 to 6 months. 2 6.
We've been seeing 6 months. we've been seeing 6 months on our, and it's not just they're placing it, it's the whole portal. They've been the screening.
There's let's talk about Cape Coral market there before Mark. So what for one bed for a bedroom, right? What's typical though?
$700-800.
7 to 8.
All encompassing utilities, access to washer, dryer, Wi-Fi.
Whereas on Cape Coral, we're getting, how much? 185 average? Yeah. We get 230 for a room. Yeah, we're getting between 185 and 230 a week on Cape Coral. On the Airbnbs, we convert it. 230. Yeah, depending on the size of the room. If it has an in-suite bath, right? It's a formula we utilize based on size.
And you clean possible.
We go in 3 to 4 weeks. Pets. Yeah.
And on here, you said how much?
That's just, we don't clean the bedrooms. Yeah. We keep the Swifter. There's a vacuum on there. They can clean their own rooms anytime they want. Yeah.
What's the what's the demographic of this clientele that browsing versus you well?
You'd be surprised. People that work like UPS, FedEx, Amazon warehouse type roles, person delivering your packages. I was
Like a security guard. I have a cook.
He works at someone that works at Waffle House. He's my favorite one, by the way. And
So what else do we have? We have a loader at UPS. I have a guy who's a professional, but he got kicked out of his house. You get divorced. So he needed a place. He was staying in an Airbnb, and he's like, I can't keep paying $200 a night.
So basically, this is a kitchen, not even whatever number of baths, no family rooms.
Correct.
And but that is
satellite. When you walk in, it's essentially you are either cooking a meal in the kitchen or you're in your bedrooms. We're setting up the bedrooms to incentivize them to want to be there. It's essentially their door for real.
here, non-eggy, not all tech.
Those add no value.
Should be hanging outside.
No. Yeah. Right.
So speaking, don't smile. How dare you?
Sharing a kitchen, sharing a grill, sharing a backyard. Yeah, problems or is it?
These people don't really cook. You'd be surprised. They actually don't utilize the kitchen as much. So, smaller kids' jobs are going to shoot better.
And it goes back to house rules. Like,
Yeah.
3 strikes, you're out. And like I said, these people are looking for affordable housing, and we're delivering a good product. They want to be in our house.
Or to leave as support.
Oh, yeah.
That is, but
Yeah.
that's great.
So, yeah, everything is included over there.
Where's hospital tenant
Hassel LLC.
as the LC tenant? It's kind of a I report as LSP.
$10.99. Yeah, I'm not going to.
12-month lease. Essentially, we need that in place in order for our legal strategy to basically work. However, you decide, I hate this, it's not for me, I want to go back to Airbnb, you can delist your rooms without any penalty. We just asked you give the tenants 30 days to book another room on PadSplit.
Are you northeast on market or southeast?
Not yet. Chicago will be a core market probably within the next few months. Indianapolis is actually a big emerging market for us as well.
Hey, sure. How many buyers so far? What's about it? I think you probably have a co-ed or LC running up.
You'll limit yourself, but yeah, you can kind of set it up however you want.
that is only
When they request to book, they can see exactly who's living in the house, their ages, who they're sharing a bathroom with. So I say leave it up to them, to their adults, let them make a decision.
Yeah, so like split person per room? So it's up to you as the host, as the owner of the property. So for us, we limit single occupancy only. And we have co-ed. There's some people that are doing female only. Like I have one lady we're working with out of Naples. She contacted my wife. She wants to set up a 62 and older. She wants to have her for widowed, older women. So we're working with her right now on that. So it's really up to you to determine your demographics. One of the guys in my mastermind, he allows co-ed couples only if it's an in-suite where you have your own private bathroom. He does not allow couples if you have to share a bathroom. So, that's really up to you.
Do you guys plan out the split house? I'll just record here.
Yeah, we go in. If we don't have a floor plan, we have a software we use called Cubicasa. We can go in there and basically we laser the room with Cubicasa, and it'll give us a floor plan. It'll give us the dimensions of every room. We then will sit back and then and take our software and decide, where are some good places that we can partition those additional bedrooms in.
And Audrey is like an expert at that. That's like, so
I'm happy to get it.
And Audrey's been up. We've also batch well for her as well. It was just
How much did I posso esperar?
It's really hard to say. I mean, it depends on the pass.
excuse me.
Yeah, but all you're doing is adding walls and creating bedrooms.
I don't know. $2,000 of array. Yeah, maybe like sheetrock framing. Yeah, I mean maybe like 1,800 a room because you're doing 2 walls. So I would say somewhere around that. Yeah. So what we do, like we have investors. We're designing, we're laying it out for them, and then we're working with either local contractors like Ian, or if it's just something where it's not something that his company can take on, then we'll bring in the carpenter, he'll frame the wall, and then we have relationship with drywall guys that will do that and put that up. And then from there, we're doing the setup. Like we're getting the car from the investor, we're ordering everything from Amazon on them, or we're giving them the order and they're placing it. We're handling the delivery, the acceptance of all the furnishings. We're then getting it onto the property. We're then having our handyman assemble the bed frames and set everything up, wall-mounted TVs and everything. Then getting our professional photographer and videographer to do a walkthrough video in there, because we don't have showings. We don't have people go look at the properties. And then we get it up and get the listing live on PadSplit, and then we're off to the races, billing the room and generating revenue. Yep.
So again, PadSplit, so you're starting with it. Are you accounting for the additional people in the home? Like, you go from a 3-bedroom to a 7-8 bedroom, and that's where you run out both your system, right? So your sewer, your water dealer, for example. So you automatically pick header back, taking down but for the ounce, but the end checklist.
Yeah, absolutely, great question. Yeah, so we're definitely looking at how we're going to do that. Like I have a conversion we're doing now. It was an add-on. There was no duct. They had like window units in it, right? So I've had my AC guy, can you run a duct? And we need to replace the AC. So he's like, they had like a 3.5 ton in here. I said, let's put a 4 ton in there. So, we're definitely doing that. As other property, we made sure like we opened the ceiling to do some work, and they're like, I don't see much insulation. So I had my guys go in there and blow in insulation on there. So yeah, you're trying to get ahead of the curve for sure.
You have kind of an estimate of the effective age of property and still profitable. Like obviously a 1920s frame house isn't going to be as profitable as
one of our properties is 1959. I think one of the challenges we had was the old windows, and like we're doing that. It's hurting our energy efficiency. So we're looking at going in there and having to replace the window. It has the old chalice windows in there. Yeah, and it's killing us on that. But the rest of the house is functioning great. The store's fine. We had no problems with it. Yeah, definitely.
I know yours would be separate function for it, believe or age or comfort. Or is that something you kind of talk about?
Yeah, we could definitely talk afterwards for sure. And PadSplit, they have 4 rooms to a bath.
Yeah. No more than 4 individuals, people can share one bath.
Yeah. We try to keep it to 3, and we have some where 3 are sharing a bathroom, and 4 are sharing a bathroom. So it really depends how you're running the property for sure.
But you're out here, you see the same in all the places.
yeah, pretty much. So we have during the day, I think it's at like 75, 72 at night. They kind of will go down lower to 70.
Yeah, we're very generous.
Yeah.
And it's a good place to call fast.
No, I wish we did. Unfortunately, we got it though. They're like, crank this sucker down to 64.
Having nurses in South North Carolina.
Well, no, someone kept on complaining that it was too hot, so we just ordered a fan and had it drop shit from Amazon.
Yeah,
For
you're trying to put as
people,
much
yeah.
on them as possible. And then you try to cultivate like one member that's like, on your team. So we try to get one in each house, and he's like, oh, there was a wasp map. I'm like, great. The VA is like, Kyle, can we Amazon you some wasp spray? Yes, absolutely. So, so our VA will go on and drop ship that, or there was, something else happen. Hey, it's like, can we get some air fresheners in here? And so it's good to kind of cultivate, because then it saves me a trip, like paying my handyman $100 just to go up there and open the door and see what the heck's going on. A lot of stuff we try to troubleshoot without having the sense of, house manager, but he's great.
Up.
Here, love him.
right there. Yeah, that's right. Cook some eggs, you know. Let's all be happy here. Kumbaya. So for sure, yes. How much is your charge for your privately managed with setup fees?
Yeah, so it's hard to say. It's between $1,500 to $3,000 depending on what we actually have to do on the setup on that. And then we charge a base is $95 per property is our base maintenance, and then we charge $50 per occupied room, which is then prorated. So if somebody moves in on the 15th day of the month, that $50 per room is prorated for the last 15 days. And then when we fill the room, we take the first 6 days. When PadSplit fills a room, they do 10 days. When we fill it through our marketing and our virtual assistant and our AI bot, we take 6 days. And then the $50 per starts on the 7th day.
Any tenant that comes through outside marketing efforts, we don't collect our 10-day fee.
Yeah, they just get the 8% on the total for the bot.
And you got no percent. We are just miles.
We do flatly $50 per room. What we're doing right now
For 30
per month. $50 per month per room. You prorate it when they do.
your solution to JD Barbies, if we be like that.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of people really reach out to us since we've launched this the past year. So that's why I said we're starting Coliving Wealth Partners, and we basically have 3 different models: JB, passive investing, where you get a preferred rent, a preferred return, and a percentage of the net operating income. And then we have people that just want to hire us on the consulting basis. You know, they want to hire us because so they have the money, they're going to do their own DSCR loan. They want us to consult with them on the property, underwrite it. They're going to then do it themselves as the owner, and then they're going to turn it back over for us to manage it for them. We're not going to have any ownership.
I don't know about it. Why you didn't charge enough for long-term management?
Go to you, Russ. Your offerings got a free site visits. You can put complete evaluations on the property, see if it sets or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You mean first? Yeah, I do a preview to make sure I'm not wasting your time, my time. Look at the property, pull up the square footage, see what I can find out to see first, the location, the neighborhood, the square footage, the layout, to see if it makes sense. And if it does, hey, I think this could possibly be a co-living property. Let's go see it. Yeah, I just did that with an investor who Audrey brought to us. He has a property at borderline Alva, Fort Myers, and one in Lehigh. So we did it, and I looked it up, and one's actually, he already did the co-living conversion. It's already converted to 8 bedrooms. And then the other one, he wanted us to convert and wanted us to go see it. And I went, saw it, and it's great. Probably get 9.
What's the sell out if anyone's interested?
Yeah, so we're actually, I know, he contacted us. So you talked to 3 investors that may be buying this. It's an 8-bedroom, 2-bath. It's ready to go. Like, I can have it set up. We can have it on PadSplit in 2 weeks. So, yeah.
Well, how about within only got to beat the shit?
You have to have a tenant.
Hey, it's both Smith and Wesson. No, just joking. That's Mike's joke. Yeah. No. Yeah, there's a procedure you have to go through. We haven't had to go through that yet, but based on my research, I think it's a little bit easier than trying to evict somebody who's on an annual rent.
I'd had one tenant. I mean, it's just going to happen. We house 60,000 people. Like, you're going to have bad eggs, especially with this demographic tenant. We have some things in place. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a team solely dedicated to payment collections. As soon as they're late, we are blowing them up, calling them, texting them, emailing them. What can you pay today? You need to keep you on track. You know, this is just, can't find housing like this anywhere else. We have a $300 threshold, so they can never carry a balance over $300. Otherwise, they have to vacate. They have 48 hours to bring it below. Otherwise, they have to vacate within 48 hours per our agreement, right? But then if they're smart and they know and they understand the laws, they may stay. If they end up squatting, then you have to get them out legally. We send you an eviction packet.
You have 60,000 at Southwest Florida, or is that nationwide?
Nationwide, have 60,000 pieces. Yeah.
We set through the mark.
So yeah, you know, I have Esquire on my letterhead, so they know that I'm an attorney. So we've had a couple of people who are late, you know, and I basically had told them, like, you know, you're trespassing. You know, even though they may or may not technically be trespassing. I've threatened them that they're trespassing because they don't have a landlord-tenant relationship with me. So, you know, I may not have to evict them. It may just be like somebody overstaying their stay at the luminary. You know, like, hey, you stopped paying your nightly rate. What are you doing? So it's a gray area. I've gone through the agreement. It's very lengthy. I think there are some loopholes that if I had to do, I could get them out much quicker than having to go through a standard eviction process, which in our county isn't that bad anyway. It really isn't that bad anyway. If you can't get somebody out in 45 days or less, you don't know what you're doing.
in my opinion. So, have you used this concept around college kids or you have any experience or opinions?
Yeah. Well, right now we're only in Gainesville. It'd be like our only college town, like really over 95% occupied. But you'd be surprised. It's more folks that work in and around the campus than it is actual students. Yeah, you have to kind of list the property a certain time of year if you want to capture that student demand. And I mean, I think maybe 20% are students, where the rest are just individuals that are local.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I just sent you a property. I had an wholesaler send me a seller financing. I can get it to the property for 30 grand. It's in Gainesville. It's a little bit like further outside of Gainesville, maybe an extra 5-7 miles. So I'm underwriting that right now, and I have a local realtor we work with that's going to go see the property tomorrow for me. But see if it makes sense or not.
As we grow, there is no doubt that we are going to start. We're going to see investors starting to focus on student housing, just as we're starting to see investors focus on, women-only homes or 55 plus seniors. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple good markets that I had scouted that I think is going to be a really good area in Florida for sure.
Yeah, let's say one more question.
Hey, just kind of mates. Yeah, so you said you had like a brief that you requisite on, like for me, you being on MLS. Here's what you should, very good. You should look for in a property that could work.
Yeah, I can email it to you, and I think we have a couple extra copies before the buy box. Exactly what you want to look for in that property. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, it's not a needle in a haystack, but it's not a property that you're going to see every day. So, Mike, thanks again for having us. Thank Southwest for the RIA. We really appreciate it.